Hello, you can see that I've already gotten started on my second set of lotus petals, and I'm doing them exactly the same way as the first larger set. I'm walking dots around a large center dot. In this case it was the green dot, and I am using different colors on each row and different size dots. Here you can see the turquoise, the two shades of pink, and then going to the periwinkle, and now to a purple. And I'm fitting that right snug in there next to the white center ring. And I'm going to fill in that space with a couple extra dots. Now each point on this mandala is going to have a starburst effect. So I'm putting the same sized white dot on each point, and then I'm going to start walking those dots around in white. This isn't going to be pointy like the lotus petals. This is going to be more of a circle. In fact, I want pretty close to a circle on these, so I'm going to use an embroidery hoop as a guide to try and get a nice arc on these once I work out to that row. Now I want to make sure that these are going to be touching at the edges but not overlapping. So first I'm going to finish off the lotus petals with the white dots, again starting in the middle of the line and then walking them out to smaller dots at either end. And I'm going to do that on each of the lavender lotus petals because I want to make sure that the starbursts, when I start working them out to a larger circle, that they don't overlap. So I'm finishing the lotus petals first. Now that those are all lined, I can start working more on the starburst effect, but I've made a mistake. The edge of that lotus petal was not curved. I didn't really see it because of the angle I was working at, so I'm just going to scrub that off with a wet Q-tip. I'm actually using several wet Q-tips because I let it sit too long. And I'm just scrubbing and scrubbing until I can get all of that white paint off and then redo the row so it has more of a curve. Now I'm using my smallest embroidery hoop, lining that up so I can just sketch on a quick half circle to make sure that my starburst effect goes in the shape that I want it to. And in order to achieve that, I'm going to do that all the way around. And then I decided to also do a little bit larger circle to the edge of the canvas. Now I can start filling those in, and I'm starting with the chalk line and doing dots on those, and then I'll fill in toward the starburst. And I know that the outer edge of the starburst is going to be in small dots, and I want these to get very close to each other but not actually touching. They're not going to overlap like the lotus petals did. So I'm working my way around, and now I'm filling in the larger starburst effect. And I got that all done. Now I could just leave it like this, which is kind of cool, but I decided to go ahead and complete what Elsbeth had done on her piece and just fill in all the space with color. She never leaves any blank spaces on her work. So I'm using a medium-sized tool and a dark blue and just filling in those spaces with rows of blue dots. This goes very quickly. You don't have to be Very careful and very accurate. You're just filling space. But still, you don't want the dots to touch. And acrylic paints are interesting. They will darken between 2 and 3 shades as they dry overnight. So it won't be this vibrant tomorrow. You can see I've got a couple splatters of white paint on that black corner, but it won't matter. Once I get the blue dots over the top of that, you won't see it. And if you did see any white spots, I could always just carefully dot over the top of that with some black. Now I'm putting on the final top dots, some lime green on top of the Kelly green. And that finishes the painting. So here are my chalk guidelines. They're still noticeable, and I want to take all of those off of there to clean this up. So I've got some nice new Q-tips and a clean glass of water, and I'm dunking one end of the Q-tip in the water and then leaving the other end dry. So I scrub with one end and then I just kind of dry it off with the other end. And as long as you've let your painting dry overnight, you won't affect any of the color. It just gets the chalk lines off. So just take your time, get in between all the small little dots, and get all of those chalk lines off. And then you can finish with a clear varnish. I like this brand, and I hang it outside to dry because it's kind of powerful. And that has dried overnight, so now I'm going to put on a few crystals. These are Swarovski crystals, and I'm going to use the dark navy blue just along the edge of the white ring. And then I'm going to use a clear, larger crystal on each of the starburst points. Now I could have done more, but I decided that that was enough for this piece. This piece already had a lot going on and I didn't want to overwhelm it. So I used my tacky glue and I glued them all on there. And you can sort of see the effect here. It's kind of hard in this lighting, but you can see a little bit of the glitter as you turn the canvas. And what's really fun is when you hang this up on the wall and you walk by it, you will pick up on little shiny points. And you sort of blend right into the picture. I've also used a lot of Swarovski crystals on other pieces, like this one, to really make it sparkle. So it's just up to you how much of the extra you want. So here was our original plan that I got off of the internet to try and make a copy of for practice. And then here is the result. It's pretty close to what she did. She used a little bit more blue and her dots are more perfect, but it was a great way to practice. Thanks for watching.